that has kept him out for much of the year. The test ruled Embiid out of last night's matchup with the Bulls, and without their big man, the Sixers blown out 142-110. So the Sixers' big three isn't the only one struggling. Philly sits 12th in the East, and with the NBA's longest active losing streak, while the Suns, now 11th in the West, have dropped 9 of their last 12. Now, entering the season, Philly had the 4th best title odds, with Phoenix at 9th. Stephen A., whose big three has been the biggest disaster? Would you say it is the Suns or the Sixers?
It is easily the Sixers. Easily. When you look at the Phoenix Suns, regardless of how inexplicable their demise has been, they still got a shot at the play-in. They still got a shot to be in the playoffs. And their star player on the team looks like a star. Kevin Durant is balling.
Yeah.
Okay, still averaging 27 a game, 36 years of age, doing this thing absolutely phenomenal. It just leaves you mind-boggled as to how him, Booker, and Beal, with Budenholzer coaching them, has looked like this. In the case of the Philadelphia 76ers, there is no hope whatsoever on the horizon. You've got Joel Embiid with his $190 million extension that hasn't kicked in yet. You got Paul George with a $212 max extension, and this is how he's looked his first year there. He doesn't want to be there. Joel Embiid looks like he can barely walk, okay? And Nick Nurse looks like somebody that is concerned about Nick Nurse. Listen, you have heard me say, Shannon, Tim Legler, stay off the weed. I'm encouraging him to get on some, based on everything that I've heard weed does. Now, damn it, it's legal in various states throughout the United States of America recreationally. Damn it, go ahead and use it. And if you see Nick Nurse getting a drink after games at a bar, damn it, don't treat him like Jimmy the Greek. Go look at your history of what I'm talking about. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. You understand? Let him drink. Let him drink. Let him smoke some weed. Let him do whatever, because this coach right here, you can't be more depressed than this man is. You come there, you're a champion as a coach. Nick Nurse can coach his butt off. That man knows what he's doing. He's a hell of a coach, okay? This is no indication of his gifts as a basketball mind. This is evidence of what happens when you are bereft of talent, because the talent that you paid, that you relied upon, that you trust, hasn't shown up. I can't imagine how depressed this man is. As a matter of fact, when you look at Joel Embiid, I believe Paul George would have took the 3 years and stayed in Los Angeles if he knew this Embiid was going to be his teammate, because Embiid is just not healthy. He can barely walk. It is horrible in Philadelphia with no reprieve in sight. Say what you will about Phoenix, as inexplicable as it is, they ain't that in Philadelphia.
Well, Nick Nurse needs a nurse. He needs someone to check his vitals, because I'm sure he's not doing very well right now, Steve.
That's right.
But I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to say the Suns for the very reason. Because you said Kevin Durant is doing what? Giving you 27. He can flat out ball. You tell me Devin Booker, he's a hooper. He can flat out ball. So what's the excuse they're 11th in the West? I can make the case that says, okay, you know what? Joel Embiid is hurt. If Joel Embiid wasn't hurt, they would not be in this situation. I can make that case. Paul George, I don't know Paul George's situation. Stephen A., you and Legs would know more than I would. Maybe he's dealing with something in his shoulder. Maybe he's dealing with something with his leg. Maybe he's injured. We know categorically for certain that Joel Embiid is injured, because we see the way he limped up and down the court. Joel Embiid is, 30 years of age, and he looks like he's 50. But that being said, the Phoenix, Stephen A., we're in this situation again. I need you to explain to me, when you got one of the great players, historically great players in Kevin Durant, and you got Devin Booker, who's a perennial all-star, and they're this, and they had worse odds than the Sixers. They were 201 at the beginning of the season to win the title. What's really going on, Stephen A.? You've got to say this is a disappointment. And if you go back and think about it, Stephen A., Kevin Durant in Jersey, in Brooklyn, was a disappointment. Him being in Phoenix so far has been a disappointment. Am I lying? Yes or no?
No, you're not. You're not. You're not. But disappointment is one thing. Disaster is another. Philly's a disaster.
Worse than the Nets were?
Yeah.
Yeah? Worse than the Nets?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look,
bad.
The question was disaster, so I'm going to focus on that, Stephen A. You said the word, right? Here's why it's an easy answer. Everything you said, Shannon, is 100% on point with the Phoenix Suns. There's no other word for that but disappointment, an underachievement. Like that, you expected more when they paired that level of talent together, particularly when, they made some offseason additions that I liked, and they added Mike Budenholzer, a championship coach, still haven't gotten the returns out of this particular trio. So there's no other word but disappointing for there. Here's why I think the easy answer is the Sixers. It's not just the current state. Remember, they already went through a long-term period of suffering to get in a position to have a Joel Embiid on their roster, to have, a Ben Simmons. That's exactly right. A Ben Simmons as the number one pick in the draft. So to be sitting here all of those years after putting your fan base through that level of suffering, and look where they are now. All the money committed to guys that are hurt a lot. Joel Embiid, who even knows what the future is going to hold for him? You're seeing reports yesterday. Are they considering some sort of a procedure that could shelve him for a long time? We're going to get more answers to that here pretty soon, probably this week. But you look at the state of the franchise based on what they put themselves through. They expected Joel Embiid to win championships. That's where they expected him to lead this team. Never been out of the second round, and now seemingly can't stay healthy, and who knows what the future holds. That's why, for me, the disaster is bigger with the Sixers, because this has lasted a very long time, what they did to this organization.
It's lasted a very long time, and I remember, Shannon, I worked in Philadelphia for 7 years as a beat reporter, an NBA columnist, and then ultimately a general sports columnist. I know this city, and I'm telling you right now, I can't recall up until they acquired Allen Iverson, when it was at a low point, and then they ended up getting him. I can't recall it being this bad in Philadelphia. They've gone from, okay, we're awful with the process, and then Embiid comes and you've got hope, the championship aspirations, to that simmering down a bit, to have now, they've reached depression. They've reached depression and resentment because they're looking at this team. And I'm telling you right now, you Josh Harris, you're going to make some changes this offseason. Because people are looking at Philly and they're saying mismanagement. This ain't the coach. This is not the coach. Nick Nurse has nothing to do with this. If anything, you should give there should be a mercy rule implemented for Nick Nurse. Give him his money and let him take a sabbatical. Let him take a year off to recover from what he's been exposed to this year. It's that bad. I think that the young players that's on there, they give you effort. Tyrese Maxey, we know what a stud he is, but it's so bad. I find it hard to believe, whether it's Daryl Morey or Joel Embiid, that you could go out in Philly at night. I'm serious.
Was rock bottom last night? Because
yes, they were down by 50.
They're at home against the Bulls.
50.
Bulls won 22 games.
At home.
Bulls won 22 games, and they're in Philly, and Maxey and Paul George played. It wasn't like they had none of those guys.
Yeah.
They both
But let me ask
played,
you this.
and they were down
Stephen A.
50.
Stephen A.